Welcome to On Air with Kash. You know our guest today from the hit films and TV shows Dawson's Creek, Legally Blonde 2, General Hospital, Click, Jessie, Gilmore Girls, and much more. She appeared on the hit series The Bay as Karen Blackwell, which she won a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting or Guest Actress in a digital daytime drama series. She stars with Sean Kanan in Studio City, available worldwide on Amazon Prime now. Please welcome Carolyn Hennesy.
Well, hello. Hello. And you know what? Because I don't normally do this, I'm just going to toot my horn a little bit. Two nominations, Daytime Emmys for Studio City for Gloria. So, I mean, and listen, and the show, yay! And the show won Best Online Drama. Not this past year, but the year before. And so it's just one of those, I think everybody should see this show. I think so many eyeballs should see this show. Studio City is just sort of like a work of art. I should look up here.
Caroline, I mean, you're such a brilliant actress. I feel like I've grown up watching. I mean, between Dawson's Creek, Jessie, and just all these other films. You know, after I know you in person, I'm like, oh my gosh, she was in that movie and she was in that. It's amazing because Sean and I became friends this past year. He was a guest on our show, and then he was actually a featured artist at a film block that I host at Film Fest LA at LA Live, which Studio City was featured. Took home a couple of awards, including Best Actor for Sean. I really fell in love with the show. I mean, prior to having Sean on, I was like, okay, you know, I'll check it out, see what it's like, and I binge watched the whole thing that night because it was so good.
Binge worthy. It is binge worthy, and season 2 I think has just dropped, and I've seen the whole thing because Michelle and Sean had Michelle, the brains behind Sean, who is also a genius, but seriously, he would get nothing done without Michelle. Michelle is, well, the universe. She and Ryan Ochoa are going to run Hollywood, but I've seen it all, so I can't wait for again more eyeballs to see it, and it's really good. We find out a lot more about my character, Gloria. Sean should have won the Emmy for his portrayal of Sam Stevens. It's a look into the soap opera world just on the periphery, and then it goes much deeper into questions of ageism for his character. There's some Me Too stuff. There's some climbing the ladder by sleeping with people stuff. It's a really interesting world that he has created. And there's some, of the soap opera, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. So it's wonderful. And it's what actors go through in this business. Oh, you're too old? Really? But I'm still viable. I can still do everything that I could do 10 years ago. What? No. What? So
the first big scene with your character and Sean, you're addressing a lot of that stuff, the ageism, and even speaking to Sean, and he's very down to earth, comes from a very real place, and he's the person to say, hey, I've been in the soap opera world. He has an acting career that goes all the way back to the 80s, starting with the third Karate Kid film.
Oh yeah.
And he's seen it, he's done it, and he brings a lot of that realism into not just his character, but all the other characters, the cast, and then your character, Gloria, because you're, like you said, you're very tough as Gloria in this character, no nonsense. I mean, even I just love watching you behind the scenes, even when there was the episode about the where they first addressed the COVID protocols before anyone knew what it was. The way that it's just so brilliant. You're so on point. You have every beat, and just watching you run the show like that, it comes from a very real place. And I feel Gloria, she's tough, but like you said, we're gonna get more into her character background in the new season.
We absolutely do. We really do. I won't give it away, but Gloria, who is she's frankly abusive to her assistant, who she also claims is her nephew. I mean, it's relentless, her abuse, because she's going through some stuff herself, and she cannot figure. I mean, obviously in her own head, she hasn't figured out a healthy way to deal with it, so she takes it out on him, and then she receives an extraordinary comeuppance. It's a real comeuppance. So, and it's nothing that actually physically happens to her over a long time. It's just some words that are said, and then she reacts. So it's lovely. It's a lovely show.
It is. And it's what I love about it too is, I mean, in everything that you're just saying, I think that's very relevant. Like you said, it takes place in the industry. It's experiences that we've all had. And there's times, like even as I've gotten older too, and I've, like someone who I may have worked for a few years back, and it was okay, maybe it was a tense relationship because there was a lot of demanding things on set. It's nice when I've been able to have those times like, hey, I was going through this or I was
Yeah,
going through that, and we can
yeah,
all. I feel like,
yeah.
especially now more than ever, with so many things being addressed, that there are certain cases that you can look at and be like, hey, we were going through some stuff. I'm glad that we're, in better places now, and I can be a better person. So I
Oh,
like the show's addressing that.
oh, absolutely. In fact, um, one of the actors on the show, he and I had a tense relationship. There was sort of like no love lost, but when he came on the show, he sort of I said, "You want to work on this stuff?" And he said, "Absolutely," because his first métier is not to be an actor. He's not he has been, but his arena is something else. And so he and I worked, and we just started chatting and realized, oh, all right, all right, yeah, you're a good gal, you're a good guy. So it's now kind of a hug fest when we see each other. And it's wonderful to kind of get to know, to be able to help somebody or to enable them to be just maybe just a little bit better. And with what I know, for, since God was a boy, I've been around in this business, but to be able to help, and then that friendship starts to blossom. You know, there are some really bad people on this planet, but not everybody. And you you can, when you start rekindling, relationships, it's wonderful because let's face it, we all need each other so desperately. We really do, especially in this day and age. So so that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, so well put, so beautifully put. I am stoked for season two. And you're always busy. I mean, I know we ran into each other a little bit at the Indie Series Awards right before you presented.
Yes.
You brought up Ryan Ochoa. So he's another one. He was actually featured at the film block as well. And I know you two are currently working on second chances together.
Yeah, I did. I've done my principal photography. I may go back down for some ADR, but yeah, I drove to San Diego and had one of the best filming days of my life. Nothing went wrong, not a thing. And I I my mantra is that my job is to make everybody else's job easier. If you've hired me as an actress, you and I both know that, the odds are very, very good, that I've got that. I've got that. So my job is, what can I do to help, especially on an indie production. Sometimes helping means you just get out of the way of the grips and the electric department. You just stand back, you don't block anything. But sometimes it's the kind word. It's seeing somebody's frazzled and opening the door for them. It's whatever it can be. So and I am always blissed out to be on a set because that's my home, and I try and infuse everybody else with that bliss, that serenity. Oh, look, we're all here. We're doing what we love. We're doing the thing that we were put here to do. And so I hope that kind of was in and the energy was an infusion to everybody. But they I don't think anybody actually needed it because they were a well-oiled machine, and they were happy, happy, happy. And I hope I just made everybody like a little happier. But it was a love fest. It really was terrific. It's why we do what we do, to have days like that. And Ryan is going to run Hollywood. Ryan will run Hollywood, and I said, save a seat for me on your coattails because they're huge. They're very, 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 very large. He is, he's, he's the engine. Mom and dad are tremendous, and the dad is really a driving force, but Ryan is the engine of that family. And they are so tight, they're so close knit. And I was working with both Ryan and his actual little sister, who plays his sister in the movie. He just casts everyone in his family and people that he loves to work with, and that's a joy. That's a joy. And he had a wonderful director, David Van House. So again, a great joy.
I can't wait to see it. And I mean, you're just such a great joy. Even the moments that we have, whether we're at an award show or we run into each other at an event, I can only imagine what it's like just being on set with you. You've also been involved in animal advocacy.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting because some people think that I'm an animal activist. And there's a big chasm between animal I have to look up here. I keep forgetting. I just look at me. It's like what I look up here. Big chasm between animal activists and animal advocates. Huge, huge, huge. And as much as I can get people to understand that and understand sort of the broad strokes about why, I became an animal advocate about 15 years ago, thanks to my now animal advocacy mentor, a man named Dr. Gray Stafford, who is huge in the world of advocacy. Activism, again, very general, very, very general. The activists would like to see the zoos destroyed, um, maybe sanctuaries, but they want to see zoos destroyed, circuses destroyed, and they want to see the animals walking down Main Street with holding hand in hand with people, and that's absolutely, that will never happen. It might have happened 100 years ago if we had understood then what we know now, and we hadn't destroyed the planet for animals in the intervening 100 years. But it's not going to happen now. And zoos, advocates understand that zoos, modern day zoos, not talking about roadside attractions or family petting zoos. I'm talking about modern zoos and aquaria. These are the arcs of preservation now, because we lose 150 species roughly of animals a day on this planet. Now we're talking some are microbes, but we're now getting to the point where we're starting to lose the metaterrestrials, the rhinos and the hippos and the elephants and the giraffes. They're becoming very, very rare, very scarce, extremely endangered. So modern zoos, again, are the last arcs of preservation and conservation, because many of them have the gene pools. So if we ever, not just the actual physical animals themselves, but the DNA, and if we ever can find a parcel of land that is not being overcrowded with overpopulation and farms and hunters, then we have the ability to repopulate and keep that species going. So that doesn't happen with a sanctuary. Sanctuaries don't have 24/7 medical care. They have very little except for some land. But zoos, modern zoos, have 24/7 vet care. The trainers love these animals more than they love themselves or their lives or their families. They just worship these animals, so many of them. So that's kind of the difference between activists, especially radical activists, who just they're in my opinion, they are not interested in animals at all. They're interested in fame and money and celebrity and just sort of getting as many bucks as you can, and being stunt driven organizations. Whereas advocates understand that zookeepers don't make a lot. They're there for the animals, and they don't advertise, and they don't do stunts, because all the money that they receive goes directly to the animals, not for marketing, not for stunts. So anyway, that's a kind of a basic general broad stroke. But yes, I am an advocate. I became an advocate, as I say, 15 years ago, and have willingly participated in a documentary called Elephant Trainer in the Room, which was done by Thad Lassenack and Angie Millwood Lassenack. And we went to Thailand and Cambodia and saw the different ways of training elephants, almost all of which were incredibly negative reinforcement. And then there's really only one way to train any animal, and that's positive reinforcement. So I've spoken to the International Marine Mammal Trainers Association. I've spoken in front of AZA, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And I've really done a lot of homework and understand that we're on a tiny little spaceship, this planet. There are probably others out there, but we don't know that yet. So this is the one we've got. And the rivets are starting to pop out. As we lose species, those rivets are popping out. And when the big elephants go and the big orcas go, we're not that far behind. So advocates are running around trying to put those rivets back in place. So there you go. So the Los Angeles Zoo, I'm an ambassador for LA Zoo. I'm an ambassador for American Humane, and will speak any and everywhere on this topic. And there are a lot of companies that could actually use an understanding of this of what I have, of what I know, and an understanding of the facts. So I'll, and have luggage ready, we'll travel.
And I commend you, and I know what you mean, especially in this digital age. It's like, okay, oh, I'm going to get a lot of likes if I do this, or I'll
Hmm.
draw attention to myself. You're someone who's actually been hands-on from day one. Your work and the organizations that you've been involved with, it's all about the cause.
It's all about animals. It's all about saving species. Period. That's it. And finding homes for them, finding places for them, stopping the poaching, stopping the the encroachment, um, where and when we can. Because saving animals means saving human beings, because the animals do not need us at all. But we certainly need them. We need them. We need what they can do.
Well said. And we also have to talk about the new Pandora book series.
Oh, well, it's actually it may be new to some people.
Pandora series has been around, but there is an is there a new thing
There's just a push. There's a push that is starting to happen to possibly get it in front of more eyeballs in a cinematic way. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, well, I am intrigued.
Right? Right? So that's a lot of fun, because it's again, it's a series that is so funny, and so I keep looking down here. I'm gonna look up here now. It's so funny. It's witty. It's poignant. It's very heartfelt. It's very it's death defying. There's cliffhangers, and there's some sadness, and there's some depression that goes with this. With certain things that happen, but it's this wonderful 7-book series that just sort of was spirit writing for me. And I was able to use my minor in Greek and Roman mythology to tell the tale of not a full grown Pandora, but a 13-year-old girl who is the daughter of Prometheus, and a mortal woman, and she's a demigod. She's got immortal powers, and she lives in Athens 3,000 years ago, and she goes to the Athena Maiden Middle School, and she's got friends and a dog and crushes on boys, and there are universal overtones to this ancient world. And she's got a big project due at school, and her curiosity has led her astray, and the night before the project is due, she's got nothing. She's got nothing to present, and she finds a box underneath her parents' bed, and she opens it, and there's another box inside, and she knows what's in this box. It's all the great evils of the world, the pure sources of all the great evils of the world. And she knows she shouldn't even touch it. And wouldn't it be great to take to school? And so she does. And naturally, all hell breaks loose. And she and her family are summoned up to Mount Olympus, where Zeus says, "Okay, really? Here, all right. Here's your choice: eternal torture and torment in the flame pits of Hades, or you have to go and you have to get everything that got out of the box back in the box. You've got 6 months. What's your decision?" And she says, "Okay, I'll do it. I'm gonna die, but I've got to try and make right what I did wrong." And so that's really sort of the elevator pitch. It's sometimes when you make a mistake, as we all do, constantly, every day, when you stand up and own up to what you've done, you get to save the world. so so there. It's really all about taking responsibility for your actions. Because when I started writing it, I had friends who were just trying to be pals with their kids. And I said, "Really? Okay, so you're raising a little Charlie Manson." Because it's not working. It's not going to work. And society will suffer. Your child is going to suffer, and society will suffer, because they're not taking responsibility for anything they do. You're letting them get away with everything. You're coddling them. Don't do that.
Where
That's
were
not
you when my generation was growing up? I feel like my generation was like the guinea pig of all that. You have no idea what the parents were like, what I grew up with. And
Oh
just
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I do,
and we're
because
seeing the long-term effects
and
of them right
absolutely.
now.
Absolutely. They're in their phones. They don't want to get jobs. They want to stay on their parents' couches, or in their old bedroom. That's it. And they want likes. They want to be, it's like, you know what I'll do? I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to be a social influencer. Well, good for you. That's fleeting. And not only that, but you haven't really been taught any basic hard life lessons. So that $3 million you're going to make, that's going to go really fast. So you haven't been taught responsibility with yourself, with others, with money, with another human life. I see my friends were doing it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I grew up, this is like, right. I was right on the cusp of when social media really took off. So I feel like I can kind of remember, just a few things before, but I mean, it totally skyrocketed like after I started working and
Right.
like actively and being an adult. But I think that it needs to be acknowledging, because some of the people that we're talking about, Ryan Ochoa, I mean, he had like a very good career at a young age and he's running stuff, but you see like that family unit, like what you were saying with his family, it's like I mean, they came to my film festival, they were so loving, they're all productive. It's like, I look at like the Ochoas, I'm like, this is what a family needs to do. They need to support each other, work together, have a good work ethic. And I think that's a good example of like where to
No
go.
question. No question. I either want to put them under glass and have a tour, national tour with them, or I want to do a documentary about them and their work ethic, their attitude towards personal responsibility, their attitude towards family, their priorities, their moral compass pointing north. How are they doing it? Because those parents have raised stellar children. They've raised noble children, and they're still doing it. But Ryan is a noble individual and smart as a whip.
Oh yeah.
And it's his intrinsic character, but those parents have instilled in him everything that you want to see.
Carolyn, it's always just such a joy to see you. I really can't thank you enough for your time today. Is there anything else that you would like your fans out there to know?
General Hospital, still on General Hospital. God bless. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Fortunately, the pandemic, which has now become an endemic, or is endemic, has been in a way. I sort of skated through it because I got myself in shape on the trapeze, and General Hospital kept working. I think we were down for only 2 months. So we've all kept working. The protocols are still in place and they are strict, but it's kept us filming. So yeah, life is okay. Life is okay. My animals, my 4 dogs and 1 cat, they're all fabulous. You can hear them prancing
I can
around.
hear them. I know
Yes.
I know the animal sounds. Yeah.
And that's it. Yes, it's all good. It's all really good.
You're so talented. You've had an extraordinary career. You're one of the most lovely people I've ever met. And every time I get to see you in person, it's a joy. It's
Yeah.
an honor finally having you on this show. Everyone follow Carolyn Hennesy right now. She needs no introduction. You can literally turn on every streaming service and you're going to see a show she's on, a movie she appears in. But I am
I
so
wish.
totally stoked for Second Chances to come out soon. And you can currently watch her as Gloria in Studio City, streaming on Amazon right now. It just had its worldwide release. Carolyn, come back anytime. I want to talk to you again when Second Chances comes out, and I know I'm going to
Absolutely.
see you before then.
Absolutely. I am here for you. I live to serve. So there you go. Anytime.
You're the
Anytime.
best. Thank you so much for rocking out with me and Carolyn Hennessy today. You are on air with Kash.